Good morning, Husker fans, and welcome back to Coffee with Husker Big Red. This is episode number 7, and we are 5 days away now from the season opener for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. We're 1 day removed from a big win for the volleyball team last night over number 3 Pittsburgh. So we'll break that down. But mainly, I think the biggest news that came out of Friday, I guess from a football perspective, is we got a depth chart. We got basically Matt Rule's Monday press conference on a Friday, since we're now officially in game week for Nebraska football. So we're going to break that all down. Hopefully you'll be joining us in the live chat here from Facebook and YouTube. So hop in with your thoughts on the depth chart, volleyball, the Cincinnati game, whatever you want to talk about Nebraska related. Even if it's not Nebraska related, we'll open the floor up for you Nebraska fans. So hopefully you will join us, and we'll have some fun on this Saturday morning. And yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. So I guess it's week 0, so college football is going to be back today too with Iowa State and Kansas State. How are you doing on this Saturday morning, Danny?
I'm doing good, and I would just like to say I made a correct prediction on this show for once, and that was that the depth chart would come out right after we filmed Friday's episode. So I was right there, and yeah, I'm doing well. I'm definitely gonna watch the Iowa State and Kansas State, especially since, hey James, good morning. Especially since Iowa State fans have talked a lot of trash about taking players from Nebraska. I'm curious about Iowa State this year.
Yeah, I'm excited for week 0, and I mean it'll be it's fun, I guess, to have I think both teams are ranked a top 25 matchup. It is it is kind of crazy that they would play a conference game in Dublin, but I mean I guess Nebraska did too, so I guess I shouldn't say anything, but
we did. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, so it's you wonder. I mean, I'm thinking back. I'm not sure if that was a home game Nebraska gave up or Northwestern, but it is interesting to give up a home game for one of these teams to play this game. But I'm sure the money's worth it either way, and should be a fun game for college football fans either way.
Yeah, no, I prefer not to discuss our time in Dublin, but hopefully, if we ever go to Dublin again, the result will be different. But I'm not. I'm just excited, and not just the the Iowa State Kansas State matchup this week, but also Texas and Ohio State next weekend. So they're playing big games early, which I like. It's good for the fans, and I'm excited.
Yeah, and so there's some other so just looking at the schedule today for week 0, we've got Iowa State number 22 against number 17 Kansas State. That's going to be on ESPN 11 Central Time. Then you've got Idaho State and UNLV playing on the Mountain West Network this afternoon.
Should be pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, Fresno State and Kansas. I think that's another decent game on Fox. That's going to be this afternoon. And then Stanford, Hawaii, Bowie State against South Florida. Oh, that's volleyball. Excuse me. So never mind. I got down into. I think that's maybe not. I'm not sure about that one. Anyway, there are some other Bowie. They have Bowie State on here as a team, but like with a ranking. So I'm not sure. Maybe they're like an FCS team playing South Florida. So yeah, there's a few interesting matchups here today for week 0. Finally, good to see some actual football. I'm glad that Nebraska's not playing in a week 0 game. That's not something that I want to see anymore. But anyway.
No, but we probably will, because we always play these Friday night games and Tuesday night games and Monday at 1 p.m. games. No, not really, but it feels like that sometimes. And hopefully not have Cincinnati next week. Try to think. Big volleyball match last night. Big win. They sold out Pinnacle Bank Arena, and this has been a talking point. Should the volleyball team move to PBA, and would they sell out PBA? And I think the answer is a resounding yes. So it would be kind of cool to see them move to PBA at some point, even though they just renamed the arena in John Cook's honor. But I guess my point is they could fill PBA no problem.
Yeah, I never thought. I always thought that they could fill PBA. I mean, they have lines around the block trying to get into Nebraska volleyball games. So, yeah, I definitely think they could have more matchups there, especially some of the big ones later in the season. I do like the John Cook Arena, but I guess we'll see.
Says it's scheduled at noon. No wonder people aren't coming in. Huh?
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Yeah, what something must.
Good morning, Mitch. I can see your comments today, so that's good.
Something
your comments. So
Yeah, something weird must have happened with our scheduling there. So apologies for that, people. But yeah. Anyways, I'm glad that everybody's here, joining us in the chat now. Anybody who is watching on the replay as well, thanks for hopping in the chat. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Do us a big favor there. But I did want to bring up, kind of the biggest thing from a football perspective is the depth chart that we finally got released. Some interesting stuff there, I think, especially on the offensive line. There was a lot of ors, a lot of either ors.
Yep.
But my interpretation of it is that Gunnar Gatula and Teddy Prochazka will be the starters on Thursday night against Cincinnati. And that probably Turner Corcoran and Tyler Knack are probably going to play. That's what I'm assuming they mean by the either or there. I did think it was interesting that Elijah Pritchett's down there in the third string spot. Matt Rule said, basically based on, too many mistakes and false start penalties, that he wouldn't be a starter right now. He said right now. So I don't know if that's like a motivational tool, if there's still a chance that Pritchett can, work his way into the mix before next Thursday, or if that's going to have to wait, for down the road. But what were your reactions to the depth chart released on Friday?
Well, at nose guard, we have Elijah Judy and then Riley Van Poppel. I thought that was interesting. And then David Hofkin, who's a guy that you mentioned quite a bit. And so that was interesting to me because Van Poppel got a single number, but I think the nose guard position might be a little bit deeper than we thought. And then just overall, the youth at wide receiver, you have Dane Key and as a senior, and then Ja'Cory Barney Jr. as a sophomore. And beyond that, you have a lot of young players. You have Cortez Mills, number 2. You have Quinn Clark, and then you have Keelan Smith, and then behind Cortez Mills, you have Jeremiah Jones. So there is a lot of youth at this wide receiver spot, and I like it.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing honestly about the running back position.
Yep.
If you look at running back and wide receiver, so there's 8 wide receivers on this depth chart. 7 of they're sophomores. 7 of them are sophomores or younger. I mean, if you're including Isaiah Hunter as a redshirt sophomore, because Quinn Clark's a redshirt freshman, Keelan Smith a redshirt freshman, Mills and Jeremiah Jones true freshman, Ja'Cory Barney a sophomore, Bonner is a junior, but I don't really count him as a pass catching threat. So I know he's a receiver, and I think he does play a key role on this team, but I don't in my mind, I don't think of him as a but then all
man, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, and then all 4 running backs have eligibility left. Emmett Johnson's a junior, Nelson's a redshirt freshman, Mosey obviously a true freshman, Quentin Ives is a sophomore. So there's a lot of exciting things. Even if you look at the offensive line, I mean, Spindler, Prochazka are seniors, but everybody else basically like underclassmen. So there's a lot of there's a lot of things I think to be excited about, with this offensive line, with this offense. Yeah, and I did think that was kind of interesting with the Elijah Judy being above Riley Van Poppel, but on the defensive line, it's like we've talked about before. It's a little bit different, and all those, like, I think there's going to be times where you'll probably see Elijah Judy and Van Poppel on the field at the same time. Just depending on what if it's a run heavy lineup. I mean, because I definitely think that Van Poppel can play that 5 technique position. I know it's defensive end, but it's in a three-man front. It's kind of like defensive tackle. And I like that Williams Noeri is in that starting spot with Cameron Leonard, another either or situation. But the way that Matt Rule was talking about the improvement of Williams Noeri since he joined the team from the transfer portal, I thought was it kind of piqued my interest. I guess I'll say that.
John Butler talked about it too a couple of weeks ago, and I think that's a testament to how hard Williams has worked. And how hard he's been able to train. I saw him training over the summer. I saw him in a video training with Michael Rose Ivy, and I thought that was pretty cool. So, and then another thing on the depth chart, and this kind of makes me happy because this is what I wanted, because the Nebraska football team should do what I want first and foremost always, is TJ Lateef as the number 2 quarterback. I thought that because there was talk that Gramstead might be number 2 as, that veteran guy, but TJ Lateef is number 2, which, I like for him, and I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing for Nebraska's future. We'll get to Mitch's point here and Pritchett here in just a second, but Yeah, I mean, we're all talking about, Trey Taylor as if he's, going to come in here as a freshman and take over for Dylan Raiola. That's not going to be easy to do. And TJ
No.
Lateef is a very talented quarterback, and he lead 11 quarterback. And he could be a great bridge between those two guys. And frankly, I think we're probably underselling him, undervaluing him
Yep.
a little bit. So, I mean, you could have three consecutive, Elite 11 caliber quarterbacks, Raiola, Lateef, and then Trey Taylor. Give him a year or two to redshirt. Don't force him into it, and let him play that way. That's probably the ideal way it will work out. Maybe it won't work out that way for Nebraska. Who knows? Maybe Lateef doesn't want to sit for 2 more years behind Dylan Raiola, but maybe he will. So I do think it's positive to see him taking those steps. I hope that they can manage his games where he doesn't play more than 4 this year. I think that's probably their goal. But if something happens to your quarterback, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, I think that was a positive sign for the quarterback room that TJ Lateef was able to win that job. And so here's Mitchell's comment on Pritchett. I expect Pritchett to be starting by midseason. You can't give him the number 1 job after his minor issues. It's bad for team chemistry. He had trouble for missing too many classes. That was the off the field thing, but not the end of the world. Needed to be taken care of.
Yeah, there's a difference between missing too many classes and robbing a vape store. Sorry, Rick Gilbert, but I mean, there is a distinction between the two. And missing too many classes, you could say, all right, like, hey, you got to take care of your business off the field. Let's get you in class. Let's see what we can do to get you in class. It's not necessarily a character issue so much as, just trying to get to class and get to school. I mean, honestly, I can't imagine going to class after practicing all summer and, trying to balance the life of a student athlete. But I don't think it's a big issue either. I do think they made the correct decision with the off the field stuff to not start him right away. They need that. Matt Rule has been good about sending messages of, hey, this isn't allowed. Let's fix it up. So I agree with that move for sure. And I'm hoping Pritchett can get on the field sooner rather than later.
I like it too, because how many times have we talked about, like the pre-snap penalty issue? That's been a problem for Nebraska. I mean, dating back to the Frost era, and it just seemed like there was no accountability, I guess, for it. Like, what were the consequences? Because there wasn't really anybody else. Turner Corcoran could false start 90 times, but there wasn't anybody to really replace him. And so now, if Nebraska does have guys, it's like, okay, if you're not doing your job, if you're not doing the things that you're supposed to do to live up to what your teammates are doing, then someone else is going to play. Like, you have a responsibility to your teammates to get to class and to do every single thing that you can to make sure that you can be on the field. You know what I mean?
Right.
So so I'm glad that Matt Rule took that step. I think that's a positive thing. It's going to be, a lesson learned for this young man, but yeah, I agree with Mitch. I think that we will see him as the starter eventually. But for now, I mean, Gunnar Gatula started double-digit games for us last year, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I'm really excited to see Teddy Prochazka, and I really think, fingers crossed, because I was thinking about this last night. I'm like, so here we are sitting at, a year later from last season, we got the same left tackle, and we're going from Bryce Bennett to Teddy Prochazka. So is that, really an upgrade? And I think it can be if Teddy can stay healthy. And so I do think that Pritchett will work his way into the mix right there. But a lot, I think, is depending on the health of Teddy Prochazka, at least starting into the season.
I really enjoyed Matt Rule's podcast yesterday, and I know fans have had different opinions on it, but I really like the insight and stuff like that. And like he said about Pritchett, it wasn't a skill. It wasn't a skill or a character issue. He just had some things off the field that needed to be taken care of. So I'm excited to see what Pritchett can do, and I'm happy we have the depth to where we don't have to put anybody in difficult spots. And that includes, honestly, you said now that we have the depth, I'm just thinking about the quarterback position. When Scott Frost rode Adrian Martinez into the ground and put so much pressure on him, partly because Frost loved Martinez, but also because we really didn't have anybody else. I mean, one of our backup quarterbacks is now a wide receiver in the NFL. So, I mean, the depth is going to come in handy more than just in-game, I think, too.
And yeah, Mitch brings up a couple of good points. So first, he says, I'm so happy for Judy, who also recently graduated. Yep. And he's had a lot of pictures with, I believe, his young son, son or daughter. So that's been pretty cool to see him kind of just maturing, as a young man. I didn't expect him to start. Also, Jordan Ochoa being the number 2 at the jack position. Another surprise. That doesn't surprise me that much, though. I wrote something on huskerbigred.com recently of 3 players who are going to make a bigger impact than people expect this season, and Jordan Ochoa was on that list. He played really well in that Pinstripe Bowl game. I thought, and Matt Rules talked him up multiple times. He said his name multiple times. It is surprising to me a little bit that he passed Willis McGahee, but it's not that I still think Willis McGahee is going to get some run there. So that's just another position where now you've got, Deshaun McCullough, obviously, who I think is going to lead Nebraska in sacks, but then you got Ochoa, a redshirt freshman, and McGahee, a sophomore. So that to me is really exciting. And Dylan Rogers is playing there too, which I think is kind of interesting. And then, Watson Trent and the Shavers with that either or at linebacker. Shavers, of course, dealing with a little bit of an injury. So he's kind of day to day right now. It sounds like he'll be able to go against Cincinnati, but I still think regardless of that designation, either or, I still think that Vincent Shavers is going to have a breakout season.
Yeah, but these depth charts, they rotate so much that it's not that I don't take too much stock into them, but I still feel like a lot of guys are going to play. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of guys are going to get opportunities, and I just thought of this. Speaking of health and things like that, I feel terrible for Gibson Pyle. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, that's a bummer. Yeah,
ending injury. So, I mean, man, that's just tough. I know it's part of the game, but he has such a bright future, and I feel like he was very underranked and under-recruited. So I'm hoping he can heal up soon.
Yeah, and then Mitch about Latif, we burn his red shirt. He'll transfer. He's not gonna burn 2 entire years of eligibility being a backup. So redshirting is key. I agree with that. And I think the only way he gets his red shirt burned is if Raiola, misses significant time with an injury. I mean, I really don't think Nebraska would be that stupid to do what Oregon did with our runner Dante Dowdell last year, where they basically, that they gave him the ball like 3 times in 5 different games. Like, it was just so dumb that they burned his red shirt basically for no reason.
Yeah, absolutely stupid.
Yeah, so I don't see Nebraska doing that. I'll be disappointed if they do. If they're like, oh, hey, go out there and burn your red shirt to take a kneel down. I really don't think they will do that. But I do think, looking at Houston Christian and Akron, like those would be great opportunities, I think, for TJ Latif to play. And then hopefully you don't need to use him during the season, and go from there. But yeah, I think they're strategically going to try to keep him under 4 games.
Yeah, and that's what I would do too. I mean, I was just shaking my head because the Oregon thing with Dowdell was just moronic, honestly. So I think Nebraska is definitely smarter than that. And then Mitch makes a point about, I was looking at Rex Guthrie, and that's why I said Rich here. I believe, I definitely agree that he could be kind of a diamond in the rough. I remember, like you mentioned, Mitch, with his track times and how fast he was and how quickly his closing speed was. And I was like, man, Nebraska might have gotten a gem out of Colorado. So I am excited about Rex Guthrie too.
Yeah, definitely. Super athletic guy, and sitting behind Deshaun Singleton now. I really like that secondary group. Singleton, Guthrie, the backup there, 6'1", 200-pound redshirt freshman. You have the one quarterback, Andrew Marshall, and Donovan Jones, who is a redshirt freshman, even though he started in the Pinstripe Bowl. So that's kind of a nice, he didn't burn his redshirt last year. Marcus Buford starting, and Malcolm Hartzog. Then Jameer Khan is going to be the backup nickel. Caleb Benning is the backup safety to Buford. Jeremiah Charles and Amari Sanders are the backups to Sire Wright, but I really, really am high on Caleb Benning. I think we're going to see him make an impact on special teams this year, and I wouldn't have a problem at all if Rex Guthrie and Caleb Benning were the starters next year for Nebraska. I think that would be perfectly fine.
And I'm so happy we can see Marquise Buford Jr. with the full year at safety, because he was out of position at corner last year, and it wasn't his fault. I mean, we just had no depth at corner last year, and now a full year at safety for him, I think it's going to do him really well.
Yeah, and then the special teams are interesting too. Isaiah Mosey is going to be the kick returner. He's did that in high school. He's very good at that. I was wondering if maybe they would would have Andrew Marshall do that, but with him being a starter, it seems like they want to go another route, which I think makes sense. Kenneth Williams is actually the either or there, the other running back that people kind of forget about, Kenneth Williams. And then punt returner, it's going to be Ja'Cory Barney, and then Andrew Marshall's the second option there, but Barney makes a ton of sense there. And then kicker, I think it's going to be Kyle QNN, and it's or John Hall, but I think Rule said it will be QN. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but anyways, he'll
be
find
out. We're going to learn it, and we're going to love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to call him Kyle. Kyle.
Yeah.
Anyways,
the
South Park reference, but he said that he will get the first chance to kick. So, who knows? That could be. You could see some movement in the kicker room after this year. Who knows? But
sorry.
I was just gonna say, but overall, I mean, I think not too many surprises, I guess, on the depth chart, but a few, and it is week to week. That is one thing to remember. This is just the Cincinnati depth chart, so nothing set in stone.
I was gonna say a linebacker after Javin Wright. We have Jacob Bauer, which the coach is talking him up a lot in the spring, and so I love that for Bauer. And then you have Dawson Merritt. So there's a lot of talent at the linebacker position. And again, Jacob Bauer, sophomore. Dawson Merritt, obviously freshman. And then at the jack, you have Jordan Ochoa, redshirt freshman. Willis McGahee, sophomore. Dylan Rogers, sophomore. So there's a lot of pieces to build around here.
Okay, and so Mitch, I don't know how we play Latif against our cupcake games. What if we need him to play 3 games in November, but he's already played 2 in September? I guess that's why he gets paid the big bucks. I guess you're saying that, Rule. I just think, you just don't know when you're going to get those opportunities. So if you get the chance for Latif, I think that you should play him, early in these games, just to get him some experience. Because if you do need him in November for that stretch, I mean, I would rather that not be his first game action. Like if he's going to have to play if he's going to have to play and start in a Big Ten game, like I would like to have seen him get his feet wet, in some of these other games. So like, I understand not wanting to miss the red shirt, but if TJ Latif has to start games this season, he's probably going to burn it anyway. So, I mean, like, I get what you're saying, Mitch, but I think it's going to be, if Dylan Raiola goes down for any period of time, I think it's going to be hard to preserve that red shirt of TJ Latif either way. So
I kind of want to burn red shirts at this point, because what's the guarantee that they won't leave anyway? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't know, the whole concept to me, and I get it from a depth standpoint of red shirting and waiting a couple of years. If they're good enough, like an Elite 11 quarterback like TJ Latif, they're not going to want to stay around the program. So I'd almost rather burn it and see what he can do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's tough.
From my perspective, I don't think the red shirt's that big of a deal, because I think what it's going to come down to with TJ Latif is he knows he's not going to be out Dylan Raiola. I mean, he knows that. So he's not expecting to play this year or next year. It's going to be 2027, and then that's going to be, if he's not the starter, then he's going to bail. If he like loses the job to like Trey Taylor, I don't think that's going to happen. I think TJ Latif is going to be our starter in 2027. And then, it's like at that point, the red shirt's not going to matter. I mean, really, the red shirt, because he'd either be a junior, redshirt, sophomore. Like, he's going to start for 1 or 2 years and then probably be gone anyway. Like, either because it's like by that point he's going to be a multi-year starter, and either he's like progressing to be an NFL caliber player, or he's probably not progressing, and you're probably going to go to Trey Taylor anyway. You know what I mean? Like, if you're playing for multiple years and like you're not good enough to go to the NFL, like it's kind of this gray area. So I don't think the red shirt is that big of a deal, because whether he's a redshirt sophomore or a redshirt freshman or a sophomore, like, he knows he's probably not going to play next season. So like, if he wants to go play somewhere next year, like, he's going to transfer anyway. So I just, I get what your point, Mitch, but personally, I don't think it's going to matter that much either way. I think he's looking at that 2027 season, and if it's looking like he's going to be the starter, he'll probably be here. And if it's looking like he won't, then he'll probably go somewhere else. Honestly, that's just, that's how it is.
Yeah, and that's the tough part of college football now. But I think that's what happens when you have a good quarterback room.
Thanks for the YouTube comment from Bangkok. Bangkok will be enjoying our game at brunch Friday morning. Let's go Big Red. That's pretty awesome.
Bangkok. Wow.
It's going to be late for Danny and early for over there in Bangkok. So those are the dedicated hardcore fans. I see Nebraska fans overseas watching games in like, midnight, way early in the morning, Sunday morning even. So That's dedication.
It's
So
gonna be late for you too, isn't it? No, not really.
7 o'clock, yeah. Which yes is late for me because I'm old. When you have kids, when you have young kids, you get old. So I don't know how I'm gonna make it past halftime. Like the halftime show needs to be short, man. I'm gonna be passed out sleeping.
Well, you know what it is? It's like like 5 plays, 10 commercials. 5 plays, 10 commercials. It's like, ugh.
At least we're on ESPN, as I'm not a huge fan of ESPN stuff, but they don't have as many commercials as Fox. I swear to everything holy that
I don't know if we have we have the Michigan game on Fox, but that's the only one that I remember right now.
I love. I've never been to Bangkok. I should probably go there. Would be 120 degrees seems hot though. I need to go at a time when it's not 120 degrees if that's possible.
Yeah, 120 degrees sounds miserable.
Just melt. Okay, the weather forecast at game time 72, light rain, dropping down low 60s. That's pretty solid. I don't want the rain. I don't like rain, but
Might force us to run the football.
yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna run the ball. I think we'll run the ball plenty. I do think we're gonna run the ball more than people think we're going to. Just because I think teams are gonna give us like favorable formations. So well, then that's why I can't live there, Mitch. 100 degrees is just too much, man. That's why I live in Montana.
I mean, does it get hot in Montana, or is it like?
No, it does, but it's not as humid. Like 100 degrees in Montana does not feel the same as 100 degrees in Nebraska. Like the humidity is not quite the same, so it's pretty suffocating. I can remember when I live in Nebraska, some days I'd be outside for like 5 minutes and just be drenched in sweat. So you don't get quite that here in Montana, but it does get pretty hot, just not for as long.
Yeah, no. I was looking at some guests that we could have on here, some former Husker players. So I'm going to reach out to them today. And I don't know what made me think of this, but I was thinking we could do, and this is up to you guys, the viewers too. I was thinking we could get some more guests on this year, maybe alumni, maybe not high school kids, but maybe some alumni, because they'll be busy with the high school seasons. The high school kids will. So I've been thinking about that. Trying to, because I love doing the interviews. We did one with Gibson, and we did one with Tristan, and we did one with Isaac Dickey. So
yeah, we need to do, because we are part of I always forget to mention this, but we are part of Adam Carricker's podcast, kind of a video crew. So you can also find our stuff at the Carricker's crew website. So our Carricker Chronicles, I guess, is what it is. So we should definitely do an episode with Adam Carricker someday. Either have him come on here, or maybe we can get on the Carricker Chronicles someday.
Vershawn Jackson likes my Facebook page, so maybe maybe I can get Vershawn on. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, there'll be maybe our episode will be the last one of the Carricker Chronicles. We'll just the show get canceled after we're on there.
After we butcher their name.
Yeah, we butcher this. Oh, that would be funny. But yeah, one week to go, I guess. Volleyball was fun last night. The Huskers took care of business there. So it is interesting that football teams are like, oh, we can't play these non-conference games, and then volleyball's like number 1 versus number 3 to start the season. They also have a different postseason format though. So
one of the things I noticed on the depth chart was no fullback, and I know that sent several Nebraska fans into cardiac arrest, but it's about damn time we stop pretending like we're going to use the fullback. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, we're not fullback you anymore. Jordan Westerkamp would be nice.
Yeah.
James Allen, that's a good idea. I'll never forget the Hail Mary he caught against Northwestern. He had a lot of great. He was one of my favorites. He was I love Jordan Westerkamp. Since he will be a great game to tell us where we stand, they brought in some solid portal talent. Got a really good running back.
Brendan Sorsby is good too.
Yeah, Sorsby good. We mentioned that yesterday. He's getting paid over $1 million, so that tells you, the kind of quarter. Because like if he would have went to the portal, he probably could have got a pretty good payday to go somewhere else. And then Corleone, the defensive line, Matt Rule was talking up their defensive line on Friday. So yeah, it's going to be a good test for our offensive line.
Yeah, for sure.
That we use Genatoni as the fullback when needed. I like that. Yeah, I think he's going to be a good player on special teams. He's a super freakish athlete. I don't see him ever carrying the rock much for Nebraska. So that would make a lot of sense to have him be a fullback type.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got the speed, like you said, freakish athlete. So why not?
Yeah. So, man, I can't I can't believe, 5 days away, and then we'll during the regular season when we have our normal Saturdays, this will be our pregame chat. So we'll probably bust out a pregame chat on Thursday just to keep with the tradition, and and then I guess we can do a postgame chat that day and go from there.
25% of our games will not be on Saturday, so we'll have a lot of time to do schedules and do shows on days we wouldn't normally.
It's the Godfather versus Evans, Justin Evans, meaning we'll put Evans on the map. Yeah, I think it will be a good game for him to prove himself. I do think Justin Evans is going to be an NFL player eventually.
I do too. Yep.
So it's kind of funny that he's only a junior. It seems like he has been here for longer than that. But
Well, he was part of Matt Rule's first recruiting class, yeah.
So, but yeah, he's really developed into a strong player at center. So, and looking at the D line, back to that topic, Van Poppel, Judy, I think they do feel good about that. It's good to see David Hofkin up to 287 pounds. Still interesting. We've only got nobody over 300 pounds, though. If you look at our top 9 defensive linemen, 300 pounds is the biggest that we get. So I don't know that we do have that Dylan, Para we can throw in there as well. But I would like to see a little bit more beef, at some point on this defensive line.
Hey, if they can move and get to the quarterback and fill the gaps, I don't care if they're 165, I don't know. Maybe that's a simplistic way to look at it, but I mean, if this means they can move quicker, then by all means, why not?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that holds up. I do think that is one thing that worries me a little bit. Just looking at our defenses compared to last year, like I would say, probably run defense was probably our strength, and pass defense was solid, but that's where we were a little more susceptible. I think probably going to be different. I think our pass defense will be better, and I think our run defense will take a slight step back. I don't know if it's going to take a huge step back because I think our linebackers are pretty good, and I still think Judy and Van Poppel are pretty solid against the run. I'm just wondering, like Michigan, I think is going to challenge that. I think Michigan is that's going to be a game where that's going to get tested. I'm trying to think who, like maybe Iowa, are we going to be able to hold up against these teams that want to, put 8, have 2 tight ends and have like 6 offensive linemen and really just want to, turn this into an inside run, 9-on-7, fist fight. Can Nebraska hold up in that kind of game? That's what I'm wondering to see this year.
Yeah, that's going to be a good question. I do think this defense is better suited for the new Big Ten, whereas the old Big Ten maybe not, but we'll see.
Yeah, Minnesota's another one there. That's another. Yeah. So those are the games where they're really going to have to those defensive linemen, that front 7 are going to get tested. But Vincent Shavers is a dude. Watson Trent is a dude. I think Nweri is and I think those guys are dudes. And it's just can Elijah Judy and Ken Van Poppel, can they like handle double teams? Can they keep linemen off our linebackers enough to to make, because can Watson Trent really take on a bunch of 300-pound linemen? I'm not sure. That's a tough job. So I think that those guys can do it. I think Van Poppel and Judy can do it, but we'll have to see. But at the end of the day, though, I think as long as you're just not getting like bowled over, when you can get off the field and force teams to pass, I think it'll be okay. But I think the run defense will take like a slight step back. I don't see us like holding teams like 2.5 a carry or whatever we were doing like 2 years ago. But as long as we're in that, right around that 3 per carry range, I think we'll be fine. And ultimately, I think that's where we'll be.
Yeah, and I would rather us honestly be able to stop the pass, because the pass killed us. UCLA killed us. Illinois killed us. Gosh, who else? I mean, even
Ohio State did in the fourth quarter, not throughout the game, but they killed us when they needed to. So
USC killed us.
Yeah, USC did. Yeah, my Vea. I mean, we did pick him off for that one, but yeah, way too many big plays in that game.
Drew Aller is probably going to kill us, so I hope not. But
we'll see. That's going to be an interesting game. That'll be. That will be an interesting game. I'm worried about that UCLA game the week before. I keep saying that, and people think I'm crazy, but I am worried about that game because, if it was in Lincoln like it was last year, I'd feel a lot. But you have to travel across the country, and it's like that's not easy to do. So, we'll see. But also the Minnesota, play Maryland on a Friday and then have to go to Minnesota, or no, we play
Minnesota on a Friday, and then we play Maryland the week before.
Right. Yeah. So that's interesting. Damon Benning was talking about all the negative hype about our undersized D line. He said there are lots of ways to get there without sure size. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I don't think you can have a 280-pound nose tackle. Like, I mean, I think, it's kind of like you have to have some, level. But I do think that Van Poppel and Judy probably have enough, but you're going to have to be, very strong and, hold up. So, yes, size isn't the only way. Strength and speed, being able to, have those angles, that leverage, that hand placement, being strong with your hands. So, I mean, there's been plenty of guys in college football that have been 300 pounds and have been dominant run defenders. So I think they can definitely do it. It's just, I think it puts more pressure on like your technique and stuff, as was your Nash Hutmaker. Not that he didn't have good technique, but a part of it was just like he was such a strength that it was going to take a lot to move him no matter what the technique was.
It's going to be interesting to see how Damon Benning covers the team now that Caleb is in the program. Yeah. Wonder if we'll get some added opinions with the coverage now.
Yeah, Sue played at 293, but Sue also played in a different defense, though. I mean, he wasn't a nose tackle. He was like they kind of moved him around, but I would say that he's more of a 3 technique, which is just a little bit different. It's got different responsibilities. But yeah, could Sue have been a nose tackle at Nebraska? Absolutely. He could play any position on the defensive line because he had he had the strength of 1,000 men. It's like that thing of, when there was the gorilla debate, how many men would it take to beat a gorilla? And I saw the meme of, this guy, how many Ndamukong Suhs would it take? Probably like 50, or I bet it would only take 40 Ndamukong Suhs. Maybe it would only take one Ndamukong Suh. I think one Ndamukong Suh against the gorilla would be pretty good.
Yeah, Suh was an absolute monster. So.
I mean, I've seen Suh take out the entire Texas offensive line, so I feel like he could take on a gorilla without that much trouble.
Maybe. I would pay to see that, honestly.
So it's been kind of cool to see some of his media stuff as well. But yeah, I don't watch his show. I watch clips of it. Doesn't talk about, this is from Mitch. He doesn't talk about Caleb on his show by design. He says he feels awkward doing so, but he's not going to have a choice. I agree. He's not going to have a choice much longer. He's just going to, it's kind of I remember way back in the day when Michigan had, Greasy as their quarterback, Brian Greasy, and Bob Greasy was still the, color commentator, and he had to do a bunch of their games. And it was kind of awkward for him. You could tell it was awkward because he didn't want to, he tried to do, and I thought he did a great job, but he was trying not to favor his son at all, so it was like you could tell he was trying not to talk about him. And so it was just kind of, I'm sure that Damon's doing it the same way, but he's just a great dude, Damon Benning. I loved him as a player. I love him as an analyst, and I have no problem that he's, or no doubt that he's going to keep things, professional. That he's a professional, but yeah, it's going to be hard to not mention his son because he's going to start working his way up the depth chart.
Both Greasies were pretty good, as I recall. I mean, Bob, obviously, yeah. Brian, I remember him as a quarterback on the Dolphins, I think it was. So
I'll defer to you on this one, Mitch. Maybe a juvenile gorilla and Ndamukong Suh to take out, not an adult. I'll agree with you there. My gorilla logic or knowledge is pretty low, but
gorilla logic, I love it.
Yeah, I don't. So just make things up.
Maybe you need some more Saturday morning coffee.
Gorilla maybe. I need to see this gorilla matchup here. DB is, and this is from Mitch again. Thanks for so many comments today, Mitch. You're carrying the show. DB is an asset to the program. He talks to a lot of recruits and not just the Nebraska kids. Yeah, he does. I think he gives a lot of really valuable insight too. I do like when I get his clips. I mean to listen to their show much. It's just, one of those things I get caught up and I don't quite have the time. But yeah, I think he is a great voice for Nebraska football, voice for a reason too, so that's sometimes a good thing that we have that, because I'm sometimes not the voice of reason. So
Keith Williams has been a great person on the staff too. He's been really active in recruiting, obviously, and he's taken on a lot of roles for the program too. So I mean, shout out to him as well.
Yeah, recruiting, I think going well, and I do think that this 2026 class will hopefully get a few more commitments before it's all said and done. We start getting some more wins this fall. but yeah, 2027 things are looking really strong, and I think Nebraska's in a really good position. It feels like they're, in a spot where if there, needs to be, kind of an NIL battle, they are in a spot to be really competitive there with the top recruits. You're not going to always win those battles, but I feel like it for the most part. I feel like money wins out, but situation and stuff I think matters a lot too. As long I
Yeah,
feel like the money you just have to be in the same ballpark.
yeah, I
Like
agree.
if somebody's offering you $1 million, if one school's offering you like $1 million and another one's offering you like 800,000 or 900,000, like if it's if one school's going to like make you into an NFL draft pick and the other's not, I think your decision is to go with the less money now. So I mean, but if you're offering like if one school's offering a million and you're offering 100,000, then yeah, you're probably not going to get that player. But as long as you're in that ballpark and you can sell a lot of the other things, which I think Nebraska has a lot to sell, especially once they start winning. So I really feel like they have a strong chance to build a top 10 class in 2027.
I agree. And, I think the 2027 class, much like the 2023 class, could help, define the program and define Matt Rule's tenure.
And I just feel like it's going to be, he's called it a sleeping giant. I think that's going to be when it starts really waking up, like really get humming, like not just having a couple good seasons with Dylan Raiola, but like long-term success, where it starts to feel like a program again, right? Like we go from Raiola to Latif to Trey Taylor to whoever else. Like we just have, a list of guys, like Alabama and these schools always seem to do. I mean, I know they would, like Alabama has a new quarterback this year, but it's Ty Simpson, who was like the number 2 quarterback in his class. So like it would be great for Nebraska to get back to that point of just having a pipeline of talent.
And I think Matt Rule is going to get to that point, and I think we're going to get there, but it's certainly taken maybe a little bit longer than some fans expected, but I see that we're going to get there. Like I see a plan and I see a vision. So
the best thing about Pritchett being third was that for the last 2 weeks, Wilson Dittman, has been screaming that he would start because he makes big NIL money and Gashula doesn't. That's all that matters. And so I let him have it yesterday.
Make
Nice,
sure to
Mitch.
fill his comments too. I think he already has me blocked, so I don't give a shit if he hears this or not. Make sure you fill his comments too with love and blessings from me. And because doesn't he have you blocked too?
He does, yeah. Which is funny because I never interacted with him once. I interacted with the Husker Insider, which I knew was his page too, and I called him out publicly for stealing Sean Callahan's in, because it was like Sean Callahan posted like something Tunnel Talk or something, and within like 30 minutes this guy was posting it on X, and it's like, dude, this isn't, you're just stealing from somebody else. Now it's fine. Like, I don't think it's that big of a problem if you're like, hey, Sean Callahan reported this, and like you're still
tag him at least,
yeah. And like, I mean, I do that sometimes too. I try not to give away very much premium information because I'm trying to, I know those guys work hard for their info. Like I'm just trying to, like maybe the headline, what it is, and then
context,
yeah, and then I'll give a link like, hey, you want the full story? Here's Sean Callahan's reporting. That's the way I think you should do it. Whereas Wilson Dittman, his YouTube page, if you follow, he just steals information from people or lies. Whichever one, if he can't steal people's information, he just makes up things. So, it is really annoying. But yeah, that's why I got blocked, as I called him out for stealing content. And then it's really interesting. Any person that makes any negative comment about him on any post, even if he's not on it, he will block you, which, it's like, if you can't deal with people disagreeing with you, that's kind of, I don't feel like you're going to be a very successful, content creator or whatever.
And he shuts off his comments.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know.
That is funny, Mitch, that he does. Yeah, just keep going, man. You can send the message that he blocks from everybody else. I don't know. Maybe because you do have insight.
He's completely monopolized Nebraska YouTube.
Well, that's true. Mitch does have a lot of insight though, so maybe that's why Mitch he's trying to mine your info, even among your mean comments to him, he's still trying to steal your information. So
I like you on my page, Mitch, because you always call out the Husker fans who are a little bit unreasonable.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not a fan of the Wilson Dittman page, so yeah. I've checked it out a little bit, but I would prefer that fans watch here. But whatever, whoever you want to get your content from, that's totally up to you.
I mean, we don't make up info. Very clearly, we're not. We don't try to be sensationalized journalists here, because we're definitely not that at all.
I do mispronounce a few names, so I'll die on that sword. I will fall on that sword that I need to get better at my name pronunciation. But folks, I've been a print journalist for 20 some years, so I'm used to spelling names correctly and not
Yeah,
pronouncing.
there's a reason why we both do print.
So but I am going to try to get better at that.
Yeah, I'm in, and I've been told I have a face for radio.
Why does Nebraska have to get so many guys with why can't it just be Joe Smith or why are there so many names that are so difficult to pronounce, Nebraska? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I mean, that's right up there with why does Matt Rowe have a podcast? But I think we'll find that out soon. I actually really like this podcast. Like, I'm not even joking here. I actually really liked it. So we'll see. I thought he was fair to Elijah Pritchett because that's a delicate situation. So it was nice to have the insight.
I'll have to watch it. I didn't see it. I didn't like the clip I didn't like one of the clips where he put out. He's like, I've been fired. I'm a head coach at 4 different times, so I can be politically correct, and that's how we move the ball forward. Like that, just to me, that was a little cringy because I was like, why are we even using the words politically don't talk about politics on this podcast, Matt Rule. But anyway, like I get what he was saying. I don't think he meant it that way, but I thought that was a little cringe. But the actual content I think was good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's. I think when he retires from coaching, he should be like a speaker or, some sort of speaker because I could listen to him talk all day.
He'll be if he gets fired from Nebraska. I know he's like, I'll go to Carolina and he'll be on TV in like a week. He'll probably sit at home for a while, but he would be so good on TV. Yeah, their names I hear and I think to myself, this is Mitchell. How am I going to learn to spell that? Yeah, like
Thorir Thorben Jarnson. I miss Thor.
Yeah, I know our boy Ken Pavelka's got some. He's got some work to do.
We're gonna have trouble this basketball season. we got Ricky Boy Katensel. We have.
Yeah, it only took us like 18 months to learn how to say his name.
Oogie, or how do you say Oogie?
Yeah, Oogie. I can't even remember. We're just gonna call him Oogie.
Oogie.
There's
one more too, I think.
Yeah, I can't.
I can't. Yeah, Leo Curtis. I was gonna say that's the other international player, but Leo Curtis is easy enough.
So, is it Williams Nowari? I have no idea, Mitch. I think so. Do you know how to pronounce Nowari?
Yeah,
Nowari. William Nowari, or is it Nowari? Williams Nowari.
I think it's Nowari. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go, Mitch. You got a clear answer there.
Berkey, Boy, Contensel, Oogie. I'm just getting ready for basketball season, but we're gonna have more basketball content too coming up.
That's where it is nice when you get the play-by-play, because then you can see you can actually hear how they pronounce. Although sometimes they mess them up too, and then you're doubly messed up because you're relying on Fox announcers to get the names right, and then it's too bad Williams couldn't be his last name. What's up with people having last names as their first name? I keep seeing that more and more, like Campbell Flynn, right? Like,
I don't know, but Campbell Flynn's good. She can have whatever name she wants.
She is. I keep getting her name mixed up though, so I'm so sorry about that. I keep calling her Flynn.
Flynn Campbell.
Yeah, I keep calling her Flynn. Don't say it because I'm going to do it again. It's just
I'm
like
say it a lot. So that way you have all your articles to have Flynn Campbell.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. But yeah, Bergen Riley was pretty sensational last night though, so I'm not sure how much Campbell Flynn will play this year. I think she will play, but Bergen really. She doesn't get quite as much credit, but Pittsburgh was kind of taking the lead, and then she had a quick kill, a really good assist, an ace, and so yeah, she really turned that match around. I thought.
Harper Murray, what else is new? Had another good game.
Yeah, well, it was tied. The thing, volleyball is the craziest sport because there's no sport that has momentum swings like volleyball. Like it's just like you can be leading somebody you can be in complete control of the match. Like I've seen matches where teams are up 2-0 and they're dominating that third set, and then something, like 1 or 2 points here, and it just completely changes and you can't get the momentum back. So like truly, I think if Nebraska loses that fourth set, I don't know if they're going to win that match. And so it's tied 23-23. And that's when you need your big time players to kill the ball. And Harper Murray did it. And that won the match right there, because if they go down at set point and then you go to a fifth set, man, anything can happen. And so, yeah, that was a big time moment for Harper Murray. And then the other thing, Olivia Babcock was the national player of the year, and she hit like 111 yesterday against Nebraska. Like, she's the best hitter in college volleyball, and they basically neutralized her. So that shows you that DBK knows what she's doing defensively, even without Lexi Rodriguez, the best defensive player in college volleyball last year.
Well, I think she knows what she's doing, period. And
Well,
I think
yeah.
that's why a lot of these ladies stayed. The one girl, yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, that was bad. I felt bad for that girl.
Yeah.
I
Oh
feel
man.
I feel bad for the girls having to dig Andy Jackson on the slide shot. Like, my goodness, that shot is just impossible.
Yeah, no thank you.
Yeah, like Nebraska last year, 2-0, and then Penn State switched. Yeah, I was like, man, we're going to the ship, and then it just switched, and we couldn't get it back. So, that was a tough one. Hopefully that doesn't happen this year. I feel really strong about this team, and with Harper Murray, I thought it was interesting. She has her finger tape, and she has the initials of her late father, Lexi Rodriguez, John Cook, and she added DBK on before Friday night's match. So I think that shows you how that relationship has really blossomed. And I think that's important. I think it shows with all these girls. I mean, they were all recruited by John Cook, and the way that Danny Busboom Kelly just was able to come in there and kind of, get their buy-in like that and not lose anybody to the portal, I think is pretty incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And John Cook will always be around with the Supernovas, so it'll be cool to see him back at PBA and back at still in the area.
It had to be weird I just, they kept showing him last night, and I'm like, man, what's he got to be thinking? Like, you want I'm sure he, made the right decision, obviously, but it's like, that there was part of him that just was like dying to be on the sideline with his clipboard, telling people where to go and where to serve. And, like, it just is, he was so measured last night, and that's just who John, like, he didn't smile much when they played their games. He smiled that one time when they beat Wisconsin, probably when they won their national championships. But it's always interesting to me when you see guys like that, or like when we would see like Roy Williams in the stands watching North Carolina, because they obviously want that team to win, but they also have that coaching part of it too, where they're like trying to be really stoic, and it's just an interesting dynamic to me.
I met Roy Williams once. He's a really nice guy.
Nice.
Really nice guy, because I knew the BC athletic director at the time, and Roy Williams was friends with the BC athletic director. So I met him, and he was a nice guy. Signed my book. I have his book. And I always liked Roy Williams as a coach, not to get off into this tangent too much, but I always thought he was a pretty good coach, and followed a string of successful North Carolina coaches. I know he coached at Kansas first, but Dean Smith, Roy Williams, and I don't think North Carolina, they obviously won the national championship. What was it, 2 or 3 years ago? But they had a rough season last year. So
they did, yeah. But Roy Williams, is a absolute legend. I couldn't have done that like Cook did, to come back and watch so soon. I'd miss it too much. Also, don't think it's extra stress for Kelly to have Cook hanging out and watching. Maybe, I don't.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
very clear when he announced he was retiring, and she immediately stepped in, that that they had a solid relationship beyond just volleyball. So I don't think so. That's just my read on it.
Yeah, and I mean, she did play for him, and so she just strikes me as somebody that's so confident in her own skin. I really don't think I don't think she's worried about that at all. I really think Nebraska we had the best coach, and we got the next best coach, because I mean, what she did at Louisville was, a program that's not known for having volleyball success really, and turning them into a national power. Like, now that she's coming to, like, Nebraska basically is, the Ohio State, Alabama, Oregon, Georgia, they're all those things wrapped in one in terms of volleyball recruiting. Like, they basically get the pick of the litter, and I think that's going to continue with DBK. So it's going to be fun to watch. And he is going to be commentating for the Big Ten Network. I think his first match he's doing, I think they said, was Tuesday. I think he's doing, it might be an Iowa match, but he is going to be commentating, and it will be interesting if he does a Nebraska game at some point this season. That'll be fun to watch.
Absolutely, and it'll be bittersweet, but it'll be a lot of fun. And I think this volleyball team is going to be absolutely incredible this season. So,
I think they will be too. I was going to say, so I can't wait to actually hear John Cook do commentary because I feel like we're going to learn, like when Bob Knight used to do commentary, you used to learn a lot about basketball. I feel like that will be the same with John Cook in volleyball. So I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact that a lot of these games are on national TV is plus as well.
So, all right, you guys. Well, we're coming up on that hour. So if you got any other comments or questions, throw them in the chat now before we wrap up the show here today. But I do want to thank everybody for watching. Everybody who's watching on the replay. If you're watching us that way, please make sure if you haven't already, hit the like button, get in the comment section, but hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications on. We're gonna have lots of regular content with the season coming up. We'll have our three regular videos each week, and then our live chats. Pre and post game, hopefully, if it works out, or if I haven't shoved my head through a wall. So, so hopefully, that's the plan. That's the plan moving forward.
Day of post game chats may be short lived, but we'll see.
Yeah. College football is here. You're right, Mitch. 3 hours away. 3 hours. I'm going to actually sit on my couch, watch some college football. It's going to be awesome. So,
how are the plants doing?
They're doing good. You can see behind me. They're growing. They're expanding. We get more plants. We're just getting more plants and more plants. So,
wife gets the plants. You get Saturdays of college football. It all works out.
Yeah, it all works out. So, yeah, my daughter's learning touchdowns. So,
okay, all right, nice. Now, are you going to make her a Nebraska fan? Because I don't know if I'd want to do that to her. I really don't know. I mean,
oh yeah, she's a Nebraska fan.
Okay. That's fair, but I don't know. That's just a lot to carry at such a young age.
Thanks for the comment, Rita. Loved watching the game. Glad to see Coach Cook back in Nebraska.
Place was rocking. Yeah, for those who didn't think the volleyball team could fill PBA, like they were dead wrong. That place was rocking.
Yeah, I never had a doubt. I think they could play every game there and sell it out. I really do. So I love the Bob or John Cook Arena, whatever the official name is now. But it'd be fun to see. It'd be fun to see some of the bigger matches played. Like the Wisconsins, the Penn States, some of the ones that people really want to see, because there's a lot of people that do get turned away. So I think it would be a great thing all around.
That's crazy that they get turned away because there's too many people. I mean, just thinking about that is crazy.
Yeah, like Nebraska volleyball tickets they're tough to get. They're not easy to get, especially when it's, it doesn't matter who it is, but when it's like Wisconsin or somebody, like, good luck. I mean,
harder than football?
I don't know if it's harder than football, but maybe just because, the demand of it, there's just not as many tickets available.
Football hasn't been at that the volleyball level.
Yeah, and they've been kind of struggling to keep the sellout streak alive. I mean, I know we've done it, but it hasn't always been easy. And there's been we've had to fill out a few tricks to get her there. Like, oh, you can come to the game for free, basically. I saw somewhere where I think it's Michigan State or somebody was doing a promotion where with your ticket you get 2 other people into the game with you. I mean, that's like
crazy.
That's pretty bad. You're just like, please come to the game. But anyway, I guess maybe
shouldn't be bad this year, honestly. So
they shouldn't be that bad where they should have to ask people to come to the game for free
with 2 other people in tow.
Maybe it wasn't Michigan. But yeah, Michigan did have one where it was like you got in with a can of soup one year during the Brady Hoke era, and they still didn't have the place still was empty.
Brady Hoke. Ugh.
Yeah, so hopefully, after Brady Hoke, hopefully Scott Frost is our Brady Hoke. You know what I mean? Like we had the bad time with the guy that was the alum, and from after that it was smooth sailing. So hopefully Nebraska will follow that same path.
I don't know about smooth sailing, but I'm predicting this year is going to be big.
Yeah, I mean, not smooth sailing because even the early years of Harbaugh weren't. He won a lot of games.
Anything ever smooth sailing at Nebraska though? Truly?
Well, yeah, probably not. I mean, even the crazy thing is, I didn't know this, and I wanted to do a whole video on this, but even in the '90s, Tom Osborne almost left Nebraska during their championship season in 1994. Michigan State almost stole him away, and he actually. Yeah, you can look it up. It's really, I didn't realize this. I had done more research on it, but yeah, 1994, Nebraska was 11-0 or whatever going to the Orange Bowl, and Tom Osborne was negotiating contract with Michigan State, and they were going to pay him. And this is before coaches really got paid like a ton of money, and he was going to be the first, I think, $1 million a year coach, and like Michigan State thought the deal was done because Nebraska fans were crazy. And like, even though his teams won 9 games every year, they just lost in the national championship game the year before. It felt like he was never going to make the fans happy, I guess. And so I think there was a lot of that. He did decide to stay. He turned it down and decided to stay. And then ultimately won the national championship, and the rest is history. But even after the fact, even after he retired, Michigan State made another run at him, and he almost went there again, I think in like 1999. So it does kind of like, sometimes I do wonder, should Tom Osborne have stayed longer? He does have an incredible legacy, 25 seasons of 9 consecutive wins, all the national championships. But could he have won more, if he had stayed? I know that he was trying to do the right thing and trying to make sure it was like, sticking in the right hands with Frank Solich. But the fact that he was kind of exploring that with Michigan State after was interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. I'm not sure how we even brought that up, but I guess
Nebraska's a pressure cooker. I can't blame him
is
for wanting to try to go somewhere else. Honestly, I mean,
yeah, and the greatest coach we've ever had, and I mean, we almost ran him out of town.
Which makes me like, everybody wants to fire Matt Rule and this and blah blah blah. I'm like, you'd fire Bill Belichick. I mean, you'd fire Nick Saban. Yeah,
I mean, a lot of Michigan fans wanted Jim Harbaugh fired, so
I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy. I actually know that about Dr. Tom, and I couldn't imagine him like not seeing him in Husker colors. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe we'll have to maybe do like a special video on that or something. But yeah, it's Nebraska's a pressure cooker, and that's fans we overreact, and so that's why it's good that we're not in charge. Because if fans were in charge, Ohio State would have fired Ryan Day after the Michigan game last year. So I mean, maybe they could have won the national title without him. I don't know, but it turns out that he's actually a pretty decent coach. He just can't beat the Wolverines for whatever reason.
He was good at BC as an offensive coordinator. I still have a signed letter from him from about 10 or 15 or so years ago now, but gave me an autographed note and said if I ever wanted tickets to let him know.
Nice. That's cool. I think obviously it's easy for me to, objectively, hate him because he's the head coach of Ohio State, but he's really does seem like a decent guy. And actually, one of the things that made me kind of have more respect for him is he was in New York doing those like, talk shows or whatever. And he was outside his hotel, and a fan came up to him for like a selfie, and it was a Michigan fan. He didn't realize that, but he was like, "Coach, I want a selfie." Like, and he thought it was Ohio State fan. And then he did like a video and was like 4-0 baby or whatever. And Ryan Day, to his credit, all he did, he just smiled and like walked away. But he just like, I don't know, I gave him a lot of credit for that. Just like, it would have been easy to say something or to be like, oh, like flash his ring or just to be a jerk. And the fact that he just like laughed, and so I was like, okay, man, I'll give you some respect for that. So I do think he's a good guy, even though I think he's a little soft when it comes to Michigan, but whatever.
I like Brian Hartline too, honestly. Brian Hartline's one of the best coaches in college football, so
he is good. I don't like him though, but that's fine. I can't say I like him. I'll have a look. I have some respect for Ryan Day, but Brian Hartline, not as much. He is a really great recruiter though, for sure. I think he's a good coach. I think he's going to be a head coach someday. So
I don't know why he hasn't already been a head coach, or hasn't. I'm sure he's gotten offers.
I think he's just I think he's waiting, kind of like Fickle did. Just kind of waiting for the right job. But we'll see. I don't know if he thinks someday that Ryan Day is going to leave, and maybe he can. But it's like, dude, you're not going to get promoted to be Ohio State's not going to promote in this. I mean, maybe they did with Ryan Day, I guess. So I shouldn't say never, because that is what they did to replace Urban Meyer. But Urban Meyer, I think, definitely had a big role in that. And he's not, it's like Tom Osborne, like Tom Osborne's like, yeah, I'm going to retire, and Frank Solich is going to be my, like, you're not like, oh, okay. I mean, it's when you have that much power, you kind of are allowed to, when you win that many games, you have a lot of say in what happens. So anyway, hopefully Nebraska fans don't run off Matt Rule if he doesn't, get to the playoff. I do think he can have a very extended run of success here. So
I hope so too, and I'm hoping he just stays.
So, all right, you guys. Well, I got to run on that note. So we will be back on Monday, and we'll be in game week. So we'll be talking a lot about Cincinnati. And join us for the next episode of Coffee with Husker Big Red, which will be next Thursday. We're going to do it Thursday morning, pregame chat. Get you ready for Cincinnati. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and as always, go Big Red.
Go Big Red.